everyone, it is Audrey and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would do a how I edit my Instagram photos video because I get so many DMs and comments on Instagram asking what app do you use to edit your photos, how do you edit them? Like everyone just always asks me, so I was like, might as well just do it in a whole video because I don't feel like responding to hundreds of DMs about this. I hope you guys enjoy. I don't do anything too crazy. I know some people like use all sorts of different apps and stuff. I just use one app and sometimes two. So I'm going to show you everything that I do. First, let's just talk about the apps that I use. The number one app that I use to edit my photos is Tezza. I've been using this for I don't know how long, a while now, and I really like it. It has a bunch of cute presets that are just really nice for a lot of photos, better than Visco in my opinion. Ooh, sorry. And it just has a lot of good editing things. I don't know, I really like it. This is a free app, but it's like an upcharge if you want to get access to all the presets and all the editing things that you want. So I think, I'm not sure exactly how much I pay, but it's literally like $2 a month to get all the access to all the filters. So I do pay for that, but I think it's worth it, to be honest. The second app I use, I've just recently started using this. It's called Snapseed. And basically, I just use this to brighten up my photos in case it's like really dark and I want it to be brighter. So now let's get into how I edit. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna go into Tezza. I have all my pictures in here, and this is where I start off editing my photos. So I'm just gonna import a random photo that I recently posted on Instagram. This photo right here is one that I recently posted on Instagram, and the first thing that I do is I don't put any filter on it right away, but basically I go to the little other tab where you can like edit your saturation, exposure, all of that. And first thing that I do is mess around with the brightness. Usually I'll put the brightness up a little bit. At first it looks like, oh god, it's gonna be washed out, but then once you edit and like add other things, it looks fine. So I usually don't add too much brightness, but just a little bit so it looks brighter and just prettier. Then contrast, I usually put just a tiny bit of this up. I like contrast because it makes my features look better. Then I go to the shadows tab. This is my new thing. I live for it. If your photos look really dark, put the shadows up so it like will brighten up the dark parts. So I put this up too, and as you can tell, like when you go all the way up, it just like brightens up the dark things without ruining like the lighter parts. So I usually put this up a little bit, I don't know. This photo is already pretty bright, so I won't put it up too much. So now our photo is really bright and it is looking a little bit washed out. So next thing that we're gonna do is put a little saturation up. I'm not the biggest fan of saturation. I don't use a lot of it, but just to kind of like bring that color back into the photo, I like it. So I'm just gonna put it up a little bit so it looks more vibrant again and not so washed out. Then I go to temperature. And this also kind of depends on the photo. So for this one, I'll kind of just test it out and see what I like. I think I'm gonna go up just a little bit. I literally did 0.02. I don't like to mess with things too much because then it looks fake, you know? I want it to still look natural, but still obviously edited. So then I go to HSL. This is where you can edit all of the different colors in the photo. So you can make like the yellows more orange or the pinks more purpley toned or whatever. So I love that. So in this photo, I made the sunset look really pink. So basically what I did was I went to the yellow one, and basically you move the hue to change the hue of it. So if you want it more warm or cool. So if you go to the left, it brings out those more orangey colors. And if you go to the right, it's more yellow and green. So I went to the right quite a bit. Then I go to orange, and I also move that to the right to make it more pink. And then you can also add more saturation or luminance, which will like brighten it up or darken it. And then I go to red because I notice my skin is now looking a little bit pinkish since I was editing with the orange. So I'm gonna move it to the right a little bit in the hue because that makes the red tones look a little bit more yellow. And then after I do that, that's pretty much the first step to my editing. Then I go to the other tab where all the presets are. And the preset that I use the most is the Yum preset. So yeah, then I will go to my Yum thing and just put a little bit of that on. As you can tell, it kind of just washes this photo out, so I'm not gonna put too much on. And then I'll kind of go back and see what I want to do. I'm gonna put this brightness down some so it's not so washed out. And then the most important part, I cannot stand people who do not straighten their horizon in photos. So I'm just going to straighten it. As you can tell, the horizon's in the back and I want that to be straight. And that's basically how I edit my photos. So then I just save it. So now I'm gonna show you another example to kind of give you another idea. I'm going to edit this photo that you guys are seeing right now. This is the before and this is the after, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. So as you can tell, the photo it's still like pretty good lighting, but it is a little bit darker since, I don't know, I was like in a shadow or something. So the first thing that I'm gonna go to is my shadows tab. This one I didn't affect or change the brightness at all. So I'm just gonna go to shadows and I put that up quite a bit. And as you can tell, that just brightens up the whole entire photo and makes it look really nice. Then we go into contrast and we're just gonna put a little bit of that up just because. Then saturation, I'm gonna put just a tiny bit up as well, just to kind of like give my skin a little bit of color. Then temperature, I didn't change at all on this pic. I feel like if I would have gone warm, it would have been too warm, or if I would have went cool, it would be too cool. So most of the time I don't mess with that too much. Then HSL, that's like the most important part to keep your photos looking good. So the blue, I always go to the left to make it more teal toned than like purple. So I go to the left and then I also put the luminance up to brighten up the background. And then for the green, I kind of just like go around and see what looks better. I think I'm gonna go to the left and also put the luminance up to brighten up those trees in the background. And that's basically it. So then I'm going to my filter and I'm using the Yum preset again. That's the one that I pretty much use on all my posts. I like to keep the filter the same because that will just make all my posts look more uniform. I just put as much on depending on the photo. It's not like I always put a certain amount on. So for this photo, I think it needs a little bit more. So I'm putting it up to like 37. Once again, I'm going to straighten it just because it looks a little crooked to me and I hate that, my biggest pet peeve. So now we're gonna save it. And this photo, I went into Snapseed to edit. So basically you're just gonna open your photo. And as you can tell, there is some litter on the ground, which I don't like. And the sand is looking a little dirty. It's just not looking the best. So basically I'll go to tools and I go to selective. And basically I just tap on the sand and it immediately goes to brightness and I just brighten that up. So it's gonna brighten up the sand area so it looks brighter and not as dark because, like I said, I want my pictures to be kind of bright and pretty. So here's the before and then here's the after. So as you can tell, the sand is just a little bit brighter and that will just add to that overall brightness look. So then that's good for that part. Then I go to the other tools and I go to the healing. And this I use to remove anything kind of nasty. So there's that big brown leaf in the left corner. So I'm gonna just zoom in and tap on that and boom, literally it removes it. And then there's also a cup someone left. So I'm going to tap, that one kind of looks bad. I'm going to tap on it and remove it as well. So yeah, that's what I do. And then I'll also come over here, there's kind of like a lot of leaves and I'll just tap on some of those to try and get rid of them. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't, so you just gotta kind of mess around with it. I don't want crusty sand in the background of my photo, so just removing some of those big dark spots helps a lot in my opinion. This is the after and here's the before. Ready? After, before. So as you can tell, it just brightens up the sand a lot and all that nasty stuff in the sand and in the background is removed. I don't do this for every photo, but if I notice like there's something that I want removed, like a piece of trash or I don't know, something small like that, I'll remove it. And if like the background's looking a little dark, I'll also do that. So then I just export and I save a copy. and that's literally it. I don't do anything crazy. So now I'll talk about my Instagram feed a little bit, just so you guys can know like how I get a good feed. I don't know. I don't think my feed is perfect, but recently, honestly, like the top 3 photos, they look pretty good together. So the number one thing that you have to do to make your feed look good, in my opinion, what I try to do is to switch up the distances and the angles of your photos. Because if all of your photos are just like only selfies, it's just gonna be repetitive and boring. So basically I try and switch up the angles, obviously the poses and locations and stuff. So like this photo, it was pretty close up. You could only really see my face, not too much of the background. So then for my next post, I did something a little bit farther away where you could see like my whole body and the ocean and everything. So then it just kind of looks better, in my opinion. I don't know. I feel like sometimes when you're always just like doing the same pose in every photo, like stomaching up, or always sitting, or always standing and going like this, it just blends together and doesn't really look good. So I try to switch it up. And then another thing that I do to make my feed look better is switch up kind of like the colors of all the photos a little bit. So as you can tell, like this photo, it's kind of neutral, not too colorful. And then my next photo was really pinkish. So I made sure after this really bright pink one to post a photo at the beach where it was like really blue. So then my next post, it's probably not gonna be me at the beach, because like 2 blue photos, it'll just look like weird next to each other kind of. And then I also have a second account actually. So it's called Feed Audrey. Don't try and request to follow it because I'm not gonna accept you, but basically it's just where I plan out my feed. So as you can tell, I have my recent photos here, and then I also have this photo next, which I was thinking of maybe posting today, but as you can tell, I don't really like it because it's too similar to the last photo. So I'm gonna archive that, and I would probably post something just not as blue or like beachy, because it's just the same coloring and it looks weird in my opinion. I don't know, maybe some people like that if they're all like blue themed or pink themed or whatever, but I just like a balance, you know? I definitely recommend doing this. I know there's also apps where you can like plan out your feed, but I just use a private Instagram account. I don't know, it's just easier. So yeah, that's how I edit my photos. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe if you're new. And also make sure to go follow my Instagram to see more cute photos. It'll be on the screen. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!